Welcome back to the channel, you curd nerds. Today, we're doing an IFR mock oral that's going to be built around a real cross-country scenario in a 1978 Cessna 172N. Now, before we get into this, I don't want you to treat this mock check ride as background noise. I want you to treat it as if you're the one sitting in the seat. I want you to bring a notepad. I want you to bring a sectional, bring approach charts, bring your iPad, whatever it takes, and sit and watch and take the information in. I'm going to ask the question. I want you to pause the video and I want you to think, okay, how would I answer this question? And I mean, if you really feel up to it, put it down in the comments. Let me know what you would answer to these questions, then unpause it and listen to what the student has to say about this question. Maybe they do well, maybe they don't. Maybe I provide some feedback. Maybe I just say, awesome, awesome, banger, let's move on. But stop watching these mock check rides as background noise. Actually take them in and get something out of them. Now, let's get into this mock check ride with this student. Let's see how well they do. So every check ride, given that you've already taken one, you kind of know the gist of it, but every check ride is going to have three possible outcomes. It's going to have satisfactory, unsatisfactory, and incomplete. Satisfactory doesn't necessarily mean that you don't fall outside the standards, but if you do fall outside the standards, you apply a prompt and appropriate correction to get yourself back within the standards, right? Some examples of falling outside the standards that don't really have that wiggle room on IFR check rides is things like blowing below minimums, right? If we don't stop when we should, then obviously that's a problem. We're in a dangerous situation. We're in an unprotected area. Sure, if you go look up like the technical service order for actually building IFR approaches, yes, there is some wiggle room. I'm not trying to F around and find out what that wiggle room is.
Yeah.
Right. So with that in mind, right? Minimums, they're hard. There is no, well, what's another 10 feet? Okay. Some other examples of unsatisfactory performance would be things like losing situational awareness and not recognizing it. Confidently being lost is terrifying, right? It's the
Yeah.
most dangerous situation you could be in IFR, confidently being lost. But if you are lost and you need some help, ask for it. Hey, ATC, there's a little complicated on that missed approach. Can you give me direct to a fix so I can reorient myself? Now, if we have to do this off of every approach, okay, there's a problem. But to put this into the context of like the airline environment, if I pop an engine on a go around because like I went missed, if I pop an engine on a missed approach and I have to handle my single engine procedure and all that jazz, like it's okay for me to go, hey, ATC, I popped an engine, give me direct to a fix that's going to keep me safe. My climb gradient's like 600 feet per minute now, right? Nothing unreasonable about that.
Right.
Same thing applies. Like, hey, my radio quit or my PFD died on the departure procedure or on the missed approach. ATC, can you give me direct to a fix so I can reorient myself? Nothing wrong with that. But hey, I just took off. I've lost myself on the SID. Maybe there's some problems.
Yeah.
Right? Incomplete be things. It's not just the examiner that can call incomplete. Anybody can call the stage check or the check ride incomplete. So if at any point during the check ride or the stage check, you feel as if like, it's not that you aren't performing as well as you expected, but that like, hey, there's conditions that are growing that puts this training event or this checking event in kind of not in an unsafe environment or an environment that wouldn't be conducive to checking or training, right? So if unforecast conditions start exceeding your personal minimums, like, hey, you don't want to do an ILS all the way down to 200 foot off the ground, and then you got to drop to 100 feet off a touchdown zone elevation. Like you wouldn't do that normally, right? So if you wouldn't do this with your instrument privileges, it's probably not a good idea to do it on your check ride, right? Call it incomplete. Say, hey, let's head back to the destination. Let's head back to the departure airport. We'll incomplete this and continue it another day. It's not just the examiner that has that authority.
Makes sense.
Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, last question any examiner is going to ask before they dig into any details is, have you read the Airman Certification Standards and you understand the standards that you're being held to?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Now, let's get into your privileges and limitations, really, because that's kind of what the whole point of an instrument rating is. So what is changing with your privileges and limitations when you actually take this check ride and pass?
After I pass the instrument check ride, I can now fly in Class A airspace. I can fly as pilot in command on an instrument flight under IFR, and on a flight plan. I can fly a special VFR at night between sunset and sunrise. And then there's my commercial limitations. So I can fly 50 nautical miles or at night with passengers for competition or higher.
Yep, you can fly farther than 50 nautical miles, right? Yeah. Now, since you brought up that commercial requirement or that commercial privilege, do you need to be current for that to apply? Like instrument current?
Yes. For commercial,
I mean, you brought up the commercial privilege, right?
I mean,
So for
I'm
that,
not a commercial pilot, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be doing any of
uh,
that anytime soon.
awesome, awesome, right? So I mean, the privileges that apply to your certificate, right? You're getting your instrument privileges attached to your private pilot certificate. So let's talk about those, right? And if they dig a little deeper, just be like, well, I'm not a commercial pilot, but yeah, technically, if I was going for my commercial, there's the 50
Yeah.
nautical mile thing. But the answer to it is no. You don't have to be current for those commercial
Okay.
privileges to apply. I know it feels weird. You'd think like they just want you to have the instrument rating. You don't have to be current to,
That's weird.
which seems really weird. Now, since we were talking about currency, how do you like what is currency and how do you maintain it?
Yeah, so currency is within 6 calendar months. It needs 6 instrument approaches, holding, intercepting, and tracking through use of navigational systems. Yes.
Okay. How did you say like did you give me how long you have to get all that done?
Yeah, 6 calendar months.
6
Within the
calendar months.
preceding 6 calendar months.
Okay. So let's say you go 7 months and you're missing like one approach.
hmm Yeah, so I need to I can go up with safety pilot and just shoot that approach, or I can also go on a simulator, approved simulator.
Okay. So who can be a safety pilot?
A private pilot in that class category.
Okay.
I mean,
So
preferably I'd have somebody who actually flies that airplane, not somebody who's just like only flies a Cub or something. I'd like them to be able to fly the airplane.
okay. Now is that a requirement?
Technically no, but it's safety thing.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Like, sure, for the regulation and the legal standpoint, you could technically grab any private pilot to come be your safety pilot in your SR-22 turbo up in class alpha.
Yeah.
As
Not good.
dumb
Yeah.
as that sounds.
hmm
Um, but yeah, that's what the FAA says. So, well, but obviously your insurance would probably have something else to say about that.
Yeah.
Now the airplane needs a couple other inspections beyond just its basic VFR stuff to actually go fly in IFR. So if I was to give you the maintenance logbook of this airplane, what else would you be looking for in this maintenance logbook to ensure that you are legal to go operate this aircraft in IFR today?
Yeah, so I'd look for the my VOR every 30 days. I need that checked. And then I need my static system to also be checked, static system, every 24 calendar months.
Anything else?
Maybe I'm an annual VOR, 100-hour for hire. My altimeter, and altimeter and ELT. Yeah, altimeter needs to be another 24 calendar months. Yeah, transponder. Yeah.
All right. Don't forget the transponder, because technically, if I'm just bumming around VFR at my uncontrolled airport, ain't nothing requiring me to get a transponder check,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Um, so think about that Cub.
Yep.
Right? That thing probably doesn't even have an alternator. It definitely ain't gonna have a transponder. Um, so based on the route that you filed, what equipment do you need for this route?
I think I only use ground base here. I have GPS. I have dual 430s and the 172, but mainly I'll have my VORs and I'll be using the VORs, so I'll have that, and then because towards the end I'll be using GPS as well.
Okay, so we need VORs and an IFR capable GPS.
Yes.
All right, awesome. Uh, how do you know that GPS is capable for this route?
I have a WAAS capable GPS.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So it's a wide area augmentation system. Essentially, guarantees that I have what's the word? Acceptable, accurate signal in my plane. I know where I am. It's accurate.
So is WAAS what's verifying the accuracy?
Technically, RAIM is verifying the accuracy. Yeah.
Yeah, so RAIM is verifying the integrity. What is RAIM?
Receiver autonomous integrity monitoring. It's basically it checks if my satellites are giving me a good signal, and it has fault detection. If one isn't accurately telling me where I am, it'll exclude that.
Okay, so how many satellites do I actually need for fault detection?
I need 6 satellites for fault exclusion. and detection.
Awesome, awesome, right. Now what is WAAS allowing you to do? What does WAAS give you?
What we really use it for is more accuracy on approaches. I can use the LPV approach and lower minimums.
Yeah, so LPV approach, very often lower minimums than just a regular old LNAV approach.
Hmm.
Now, when it comes to your route selection, do
Hmm.
we need, based on the weather that's supposed to be going on today, do we need an alternate
Uh,
destination? I mean, I can just, we could look at it real quick. Destination DNL, right? Yep, that's our destination. Awesome.
yeah, it's VFR, so we have more than 2,000 feet and 3 statute miles visibility, so we do not need to follow an alternate. And there is an instrument approach. I need 2,000 feet uh, ceilings and then 3 statute miles visibility 1 hour before, 1 hour after my estimated time of arrival.
All right, solid. So we're looking at DNL. I mean, that does, METAR is currently showing 10 statute mile, light rain, broken 5,500, broken 7,000, overcast 9,500. Um, two, temperature 2993. TAF is looking like it gets a little windy later in the day, but scattered 4,000, scattered 3,000, scattered 700. Overcast 600 way later in the day, so it doesn't look like that's going to apply to us. So
Mhm,
solid. We don't need an alternate. But let's say the weather was more looking like 700-foot ceilings, 2 mile visibility. So
mhm.
we would need an alternate. How does WAS impact your alternate selection?
Yeah, so with WAS, I mean, it'll let me use the LPV as a precision like approach. So I can have that 600 foot and 2 statute miles ceiling.
So it's the way that the AIM defines an LPV, LNAV, LP approach is approach with vertical guidance, and that does comply with ICAO standards. So they are not constituted as a precision approach. So
Right.
what else does it change? Like my destination airport, let's again say that my destination airport, crappy ceilings. I see that there's an RNAV runway 5, an RNAV runway 11, and a VOR DME Bravo. Okay. But wind looking like 060 at 30 knots. So practically the only approach that we're really going to do is
No,
runway 5, right?
right.
Even that VOR DME Bravo, could you imagine trying to do a circling approach with like a 30 knot wind, right?
Nope. Not be.
Um, so practically runway 5 is our only option.
Hmm.
Can I use an airport that only has GPS approaches as my alternate with a WAS capable GPS?
With WAS capable, technically I need to use the my LNAV or circling minimums. If I'm following like my GPS considerations.
But what I'm getting at is, let's say, again, looking at this one, we see that we're only doing runway 5 here. And let's say that my other airport that I'm going to go to is like my alternate is going to be Duffy,
Yeah.
right? Um, is Duffy legal to be my alternate? Why or why not?
One has to have a non-precision. They both can't be relying on GPS.
Does WAS allow you to, well, not comply with that?
No. I mean, that's still a.
It does. WAS allow that's one other thing that WAS gives you is the ability to have your destination and alternate approaches be primarily based on GPS.
Okay.
Right? Let's say I had an IFR capable GPS that only had RAIM, no WAS, because like
Mhm.
you said you had a 430, correct?
Yeah, do 430s.
Yeah. So I mean, there are 430s out there that don't have WAS. There's G1000s out there that don't have WAS. That one kind of blew my mind. I couldn't imagine spending
2006.
100,000.
Was it like
Yeah, I
pre
could.
2006 or something? They don't have them. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird.
I couldn't imagine spending $100,000 on avionics and not having WAS. So you got ripped off. No, um, but if I only had RAIM capable, IFR capable GPS with no WAS, then my destination and my alternate would have to have different approaches,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
But WAS allows me to have them at both.
Okay.
The only other option is my alternate. I must be able to get from cruise to the airport in IF or in VFR
Right.
conditions,
Right.
VMC conditions, right? Awesome. So we now looking at let's go look at Duffy again once Sky Vector loads. And we're gonna look at the RNAV runway 10. Okay, so I've got it pulled up on my end. I don't know if you could see it very well, but if you could pull it
Mhm.
up on your end.
I
Can
mean,
this can this actually be our alternate plan? Yep. RNAV runway 10 at Thomas McDuffie, Hotel Kilo uniform or Hotel Quebec uniform.
let's see. Um, They don't have an alternate not available, or they don't have the ANA top left. That's the first thing I see. Yeah, this can be used an alternate.
Okay, awesome. Now, what does this A though mean?
That's non-standard alternate.
All right. So, what are the alternate minimums for this airport then?
So that was Thomas McDuffie. It's just like not available when local weather is not available.
Oh, awesome. Right. I was about to look it up. So, if local weather's available, send it. Right.
Yep.
That can be my alternate. All right. So that's just one of the things, like, it's off your plan. So it shows me that you know how to look it up, because obviously you can't plan for everything.
Yeah.
So like if we just go with what's on your route, like, well, obviously you found that, you put it on your route, right? Or your buddy just told you, just plan this, you'll be fine. Here's all the answers, right? um all right, solid. Now let's get a little bit more into, we talked about WAAS. Now that Garmin 430 does have VORs in it. Can you talk to me about how those things work?
Yes, a VOR, what is very high frequency omnidirectional range, and essentially how it works is it's going to send two signals, and they kind of send them in sine waves. And if you're, let's say I'm on the 360, heading on the waves are going to line up. They're going to be on top of each other. Now, if I'm on a 180, they're going to be completely apart, and it talks to the it talks to my aircraft. It measures how far apart the actual signals are from each other, and that's how it tells me what bearing I'm on. A radial.
Yeah, okay. It's difference between radial and bearing, right?
Yeah, radial.
All right, awesome. Actually, we're going to talk about VORs for a second, but I've got to do a little screenshot of my little VOR simulator, and I'm going to be really mean. So I'm going to give you an unpublished hold.
Oh
And I
no.
want you to tell me how we're going to enter this hold. Everyone's favorite thing. Like, I hear it in your voice. You're like, this mother.
You can get the clickbait now.
Oh,
God.
God. No, so here's the thing. Before we really get into this, even as an airline pilot, ATC is like, hey, advise when ready to copy an unpublished hold. Even ATC is like, you know what? You're at 36,000 feet. Hold straight, hold direct, standard rate. And we're like, that's not how you give holding instructions, but okay. Right. So I'm not trying to belittle the training environment. Right. But it is required.
Yeah.
And just because your plan may be, hey, let's go fly the airlines, nothing's stopping you from going and bumming around in a 172 as a 777 captain in 40 years. Right. So we still got to check it, right? So you should be able to see this, right?
Yep.
I got a nice little 6-pack right in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want you to tell me just right off the bat, what radial are we on?
Yeah. Yeah, we are on the 0.
So is that what radial we're on, or is that what course we're on?
That's what course we're on. We're on the we're on the 250.
Awesome, right? So here's our heading. This is accurate. If I told you, Cessna 123,
Yeah.
maintain present heading and track the 270 radial inbound to hold on the 070 radial inbound, standard holds 1 minute legs. How would you enter this hold?
You said 0070?
070 radial. You're going to be holding on the 070 radial.
Drop
But
that up.
ATC told you maintain present heading to track inbound on the 270.
It's going to be direct.
So if we're holding inbound on the 070 radial, what would I put in my VOR? What would I put in my CDI?
Inbound on the 070, then you'd put the reciprocal of that. So you'd put the 250.
Okay.
And it's just going to be a parallel entry.
Parallel entry would probably work.
Yeah, I think parallel entry works.
Yeah, here, we'll show you the whole screen so that you can get a better idea. So here's the whole simulator. So the idea was track inbound on the 270, track outbound 070, do your little turn, and come inbound.
Okay. I kind of had a vision of that. My picture doesn't really show it.
But, you and every single IFR rated pilot out there needs to practice your unpublished holds.
Yeah.
So don't think that this, again, like, we're going for our check, right? All right. So this should be probably the best time that we're good at best at unpublished holds. But go practice them a little bit. Have you seen this simulator before? The one that I was showing you?
I have. Yeah.
Go play around with it.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely I will.
If you got access to Microsoft Flight Sim, that's even better. Or X-Plane. Like I'm not partial to either. Um,
Okay.
so let's get a little bit. So you've still got your old steam gauges, don't you?
Yeah, we got the dual AV30s, the Attitude and the DGR or AV30s.
Yeah, you got the dual AV30s, Attitude, and HSI. Did they finally certify the HSI for IFR?
Supposedly yes. Uh,
Oh, damn.
I just looked through the I don't know their website or the manual on those, and I saw that they were IFR certified. I didn't see that the HSI was. I thought it was.
Well, where could you look?
I'd probably check that'd be STC on that.
If you're going to go be PIC in this airplane with this equipment in it in IFR, I mean, I know we trust our flight school and all that jazz, but I mean, maybe we
Well,
should check that.
yeah,
So, do you know how? Do you know where to find the STC?
yeah. I've looked at the STC before. I was just looking through the books the other day. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what website could I go to find an STC that I'm unfamiliar with that I don't necessarily have right in front of me?
It's probably gonna be on FAA.gov under. It's all on FAA.gov.
Okay, well,
Let's see.
which? I mean, there's a FAA.gov is a pretty big website. There's a lot going on FAA.gov.
Yeah, they have a just supplemental type supplemental type certification page. Let's see.
You ever heard of the DRS?
Not.
Okay, so that's where you're actually going to go is the dynamic regulatory system. DRS.FAA.gov.
Huh. Okay.
What does Garmin show up as? Let's go with, you know what? Cessna Aircraft Company. It's probably going to be an easier one to try and find something on. Okay, so installation of wheel-in anti-collision or position lights. Supplemental type certificate right here. Installation of these lights. There should be, if there is any limitations associated with it, they're going to be right here, right? This is going to be the part numbers that are approved. This is going to be any amendments that are part of it. To complete approval of these lights, anti-collision light, the installation on individual aircraft must be checked to show compliance. Pretty much saying like install it properly. Right?
Yeah.
Use the manual. Don't just slap it on there with duct tape, right? They can be installed in conjunction with these other STCs as well. On, I guess, some Mitsubishi MU2s, there's some other limitations, right?
Mm,
So we see how we found the STC. And even in this STC, it shows us all the airplanes that are applicable for this STC,
okay.
right? So we might actually be able to find AV30. Let's see if we can find the AV30 STC. Maybe it's AV-30.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
See if AV pops up something. STC, no, that just gave us the same. AV-30. Instructions may be used, blah, blah, blah. Total combined weight of the occupant. This STC, oh, this is for floats. Rotary gatekeep, copper electrical cables. That's terrifying that you had to switch to copper electrical cables because that's the implication that they were aluminum. Exhaust gas temperatures, STEC 20 and 30. That's an autopilot. Replace asbestos bellows in the exhaust. All right. So we're not able to find it just right off the bat. But if you could find the STC number, it's going to be a whole lot easier to find it in here.
Okay.
All right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
All right. And this is where we can find those limitations. Is this approved for IFR flight? You know what? Let's just do this. AV30 STC number. UAvionics AV30 SA04. We're gonna use the Google AI feature, and it's not going to be accurate. Of course, it's not going to be accurate, but you get the idea, all right?
Yeah. Mhm.
That's hilarious that wasn't accurate. um, but STC service bulletin. UAV, you know what? Moving on. Verify that your instruments are actually capable of IFR flight. I know they were saying that the HSI was supposed to be certified for IFR usage, but they've also been saying that for like it's going to be done at Oshkosh for the last 3 years. So I don't know if they actually got it.
Mm.
Now, do you have an RNAV system in your airplane?
Oh, we do. We have GPS.
Okay, solid. Do you know any examples of any other RNAV systems that could be installed in an airplane?
DME VOR, stuff like that. I don't use it. I don't really care about it.
Yeah. No, oh, you will at the airlines.
Yeah. Right now I don't.
Yeah. The CRJ 200 still uses DME as its primary navigation source.
Really?
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I love it. So let's get into the last piece of equipment that's really going to be important in your airplane is the ILS. Can you talk to me about an ILS?
Yeah, so there's a couple different components of an iOS. We have a localizer, we have glide slope, and we have marker beacons. It's ground based and very accurate, usually 200 feet above the ground.
Okay. Now, let's say that I was like 16 miles out and, based on my situational awareness, I think I'm probably like 16 degrees off course, but I see my localizer needle is starting to wake up and starting to wiggle. Should I follow that?
No, you need a within 700 feet of the threshold. I think it's 3 to 3 degrees or 3 to 6 degrees. So yeah, I would not follow that.
Okay, so it's supposed to be 700-foot wide at the threshold. I
The
like it. I
threshold.
like that you got that one. But
Hmm.
that makes it so that it's 3 to 6 degrees wide, the whole route, right, for full deflection.
Hmm.
But what's the actual service volume of it? Like, when can I assume that I can follow this source?
Like what?
It's 10 degrees. Yep.
Okay.
Now let's say ATC leaves me high for some reason. They just forget about me, right? Because I'm moving so
Mm.
slow. They just like, I'll talk to him in 20 minutes when he actually gets there. And they
Mm.
screw up and leave me way high. So I blew through the glide slope. What's the danger of ATC just kind of trying to drop me on top of the glide slope?
You mean on a false glide slope?
Okay, how could you identify a false glide slope?
I mean you're way high. The, the way it kind of works is it's like the glide slope kind of might reflect off the surface of the earth and give you like a weird, crazy high glide slope. I mean,
So it could be really steep, right? I think that's what you were trying to get at.
yeah, more than 3 degrees.
Yep.
It was a good telltale there. Telltale there. Bleh. Um, yeah.
All right. Anything else that could kind of sometimes they'll be inverted, right? You'll have reverse sensing associated with your glide
Okay.
slope.
Huh. Okay.
They now let's say we are, doing our route, we're cooking on down an approach, whether it be an LPV, LNAV, VNAV, VOR, what have you. Um, and we reach our minimums, but the only thing I see is some blinking white lights. Do I have to go mist?
No. So you're talking about the running rabbits. So you can go 100 feet above touchdown zone elevation. When you have those lights in sight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? I can go to 100 feet above touchdown zone elevation, no matter the approach, as long as I got the approach lighting system in sight. Now, when can I actually continue to land?
So if you have one of the 10 visual references and also need to be stable approach and need more than the prescribed weather minimums. But yeah, one of those other nine visual references.
Okay, so what if I see a taxiway light?
An S big runway like runway environment,
Okay.
threshold markings, like stuff like that.
All right, awesome, right? I'm happy with that. Now, I think we're probably going to get into your route for a bit. Um, so I'm going to share my screen with you. So, here we are at your departure airport of
Juliet Niner.
yeah, Juliet Niner. I think we're both like halfway through the day, and it's only 11, and we're already halfway through the day. Like we just need to wrap it up. Um, so I'm going to give you a craft clearance, and we're going to use that as kind of a scenario as we kind of work through this. Does that sound good to you?
But yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So Cessna 123, you are cleared to Victor November Alpha via radar vectors, levy as filed, climb maintain 2000, expect 6000, 7000, 5 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 12345, squawk 1212, EFC at Victor November Alpha of 1730 Zulu. Current time 1558 Zulu.
All right, Cessna 123 cleared Victor November Alpha radar vectors levy as filed. 2000 expect 7000 5 minutes after departure. 123.45 walk 1212 EFC 1730.
Awesome, awesome. And yeah, we're at a controlled field. So taxi down to the runway. What's your planned departure? Did you plan any departure? No, there's not any
I
departure to plan.
didn't. Winds are calm right now, so I'd probably take 3-2
All right,
over
awesome.
Quincy.
So clear for takeoff, up into the clouds. All right, let's pretend weather we're looking at 400-foot ceilings. Sound good to you?
400 feet. Yep.
All right, sounds good. 400 overcast up to 10,000. So we're going to be in the soup the entire time. All right. Now take off. We're heading direct. We get our clearance direct levy and contact departure. 12454. I don't know. Yeah, contact departure on another frequency.
Mhm.
You swap over to that other frequency, and we don't get a response.
Mhm.
What's your plan?
So the first thing I do is probably switch back to my other frequency, checking with them, troubleshoot a little bit before I go into full blown, emergency procedures. I'm squawking 7600. If that doesn't work, and I'm gonna climb to the highest of my. I'd climb to 7,000. That's gonna be higher than anything out around here. All the Arokas and stuff like that. And then direct levy, and then as filed. Let's see. You gave me EFC time is 17:30. So
based on your nav log, when are we going to get to Victor November Alpha? Victor November Alpha looks like it's going to be its estimated time en route of 52 minutes. So based on a departure, current time 16:01 Zulu, seems like we're going to get there just about 38 minutes shy.
okay, so I'd fly that route vectored expected and filed. I'm gonna fly the route.
So we're going to go
Radar
levy.
vectors be levy and then as filed.
Now our clearance limit is here at Vienna, isn't it?
You're cleared to VNA. Okay, you did say that.
Yep. Cleared to VNA. And based on your nav log, it should take you about 52 minutes to get there. And your EFC was 17:30. So we're going to get there about 38 minutes early. What are you going to do?
38 minutes early is a lot. Probably I would hold until the EFC time and then shoot the approach.
Okay, so am I going to go straight VNA to straight destination and shoot an approach?
I mean, I'm still gonna fly my filed route.
Okay.
Get me.
So at 17:30, we depart VNA, and then we're going to go to DBN. And DBN looks like it's direct to Daniel Field. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So talk to me about it. 070 at 12. 500-foot ceilings at your destination. And you got this through like ADS-B weather, right? make it. Let's pretend that just the comm function died.
Let's see. That probably 07012. Run out runway 5 would be best for that.
Airport.
Yep.
Okay.
I go straight tapes, then twice at 2,700 feet down to Kaboom at 2,000.
Now, did you file tapes?
No, but if I'm in,
I know emergency aircraft, we're gonna do what we need to do, but technically, right? It's
I need to file for.
We're gonna go to the airport and then come back to tapes because you filed DBN airport, not DBN tapes.
Okay.
Airport, because that's what 9175 tells you to do, right? It's like, because that's not a very hard thing to do. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much on the way there, right? Like it's pretty much on the route that you're going to be doing anyway. Add initial approach fix based on the projected weather in the event that your radio dies.
Okay.
Right? Because it makes it so the ATC knows exactly what your plan is. Okay. Because also, like, well, let's be honest, if your radio's dead, you're probably not going to get any new weather.
Yeah.
You might be able to pull something through ADS-B, but like it's not intended to be kind of your primary primary weather source, right? It's supposed to be that primary weather source. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So let's pretend that you filed tapes. Give me a briefing for this approach.
Yeah. Sure. All right, so this is the RNAV runway 5 into Augusta, Georgia. Let's see, we have 3,800 feet of landing available. Touchdown zone is 411 feet. Airport elevation is 422 feet. Final approach course is 047. Right, so we're going to be direct tapes at 2,700 feet down to Kaboom at 2,000. Then we're going to be using the LPV decision altitude of 661 feet. Also, this approach is good until the 9th of July. To say that. We have the weather on 135.27, approach is 126.8, and Unicom is 123.05. The event we go miss, we're going to climb to 3,400 direct FAMGO and hold, continue climb and hold to 3,400. This is a straightened approach.
Okay.
You've been
now,
briefed.
given that our radio is dead, Does that impact this approach at all?
When local altimeter now received increased LPV decision altitude to 716 feet.
It's a pretty big
Yes.
one,
Yeah, it is.
right? So just make sure, what I always tell a lot of students is when they get asked to brief something, they think like, okay, I got to start talking right now. Nah, read it, right?
Okay.
Especially because we got a 38-minute hold at VNA. Right? So like we're gonna have plenty of time to read the entire thing. So let's read the entire approach plate before we start talking is really just the biggest bit of advice I can give for any student when it comes to briefing anything.
Okay.
Read it first, then start talking. And try and tell me a story is get kind of the good way to go about it. Like, hey, we're gonna be doing the RNAV runway 5 into Daniel Field. Since we don't have our radio, it does impact this approach. Frequencies don't really matter, but I do see that we're heading direct tapes. We're going to cross tapes at or above 2,700. Then we can go down to Kaboom and grab the LPV glide path from Kaboom down to the runway. Our new minimums, given that we don't have the radio, is 716. If we don't see the runway or the runway environment or approach lighting system, et cetera, by then, we're going to be doing the mist, climb to 3,400 fam, go and hold, and continue to climb in the hold. If for some reason we lose situational awareness, we're going up to 3,000. That clears us of any obstacles within 25 miles of the runway. Well, once I get on the ground, looks like it's probably going to be a right turn off. Do you have any comments, questions, concerns, or additions?
Okay.
Right.
That's good.
I mean, the implication is that the chart is valid. I mean, if you want to say, hey, chart's got a valid date, sure, say the chart's got a valid date. I shouldn't be flying around with invalid charts,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Some examiners might harp on it. I don't know. Like nobody's flying around with paper approach plates anymore.
Yeah.
Like nobody's flying around with paper approach plates. I mean, if I'm going to a place I'm not familiar with, sometimes I'll print out some plates to bring with in the event that my iPad decides to, do iPad things. Just so I can have a backup. But I also have my phone. Like I've got like two iPads. I got my one mounted in the plane, and I got like another one that actually has service. There's options.
Yeah.
So let's just look at the chart, and we'll talk about a couple things that are on the chart, making sure you know how to read it.
Okay.
I'm here looking at this black airway. Why
Yep.
is this one black? And like, let's say this one's, oh, okay, that's a bad example. And this one's blue.
So yeah, it's blue because it's GPS based. I mean the black is going to be ground based VORs.
Okay. So what are these numbers above this Victor airway?
Yep. So that's my minimum en route altitude and my MOCA minimum obstacle clearance altitude.
All right. So what do these give you?
So the lower one, 1900, is going to be just obstacle clearance, and it'll give me reception, I guess, within 22 miles of a VOR. But my MEA is going to give me reception and obstacle clearance.
All right. Awesome. Looking along your route. Oh, well, I guess let's go talk about this one. What is this? What's going on here?
It's an unusable airway.
All right. Means it's closed. Can we use it for navigation?
No,
No. All right. Solid. What's this little flag with the X on it?
that's a crossing altitude,
Okay. So what does that mean?
6,000 going north.
All right. That's funny. A route just fucking starts nowhere. It's an interesting place to start a route. Let's go. We're gonna go out of your environment because you've obviously looked at that chart. And let's go in this general area. Let me zoom in a little bit more, see what I can see. Why is this one filled in?
So that's a mandatory reporting point.
Okay, what does that mean?
So I have to, when I fly over that, I have to report. It's
that's a-
mandatory that I report. Yeah.
Is it always mandatory that you have to report it?
If I'm on radar contact, then it's different. But yes, it's always mandatory I have to report that.
What if you're in radar contact?
That technically they know where I am already, so I don't.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Right. If you're in radar contact, you don't have to report a couple different things, right? What are the things that you have to report whether you're in radar contact or not?
I use missed approach, airspeed plus or minus 10, reaching a holding fix. It's VFR on top when I'm changing altitude. ETA plus minus 2 minutes change, leaving a hole going over outer marker, unforecasted weather, anything that messes up the safety of flight, leaving at altitude, final approach fix, and it's like radio or radio failure.
Okay. What about your climb rate?
Oh yeah, yep, C500. Then I need compulsory reporting points and unable to do a 500-foot climb and or descend 500 feet a minute.
Now, which of these aren't required if you're in radar environment? Like if they can see you?
That's a good question. Compulsory reporting points for sure. I would think I know like my mid approach for sure.
Well,
I have to report that.
you do always have to report the missed approach. So let's think
Right.
about it. Like, let's think about because I mean they don't know what your plan is. I mean, they don't know if you just suck at IFR flight. Um, like so, I don't need to tell them about an outer marker because they can see that I'm at the outer marker. I don't need to
Yes,
tell
I
them about
was
the final approach fix because again, they can see that I'm at the final approach fix. And then compulsory reporting points. Those are the only things that are not required when you are in radar contact.
okay. That's what I was thinking. Like, what can they actually see versus what do I need to tell 'em?
Let's go to Salt Lake City. This KSLC is Salt Lake City. There's a SID out of here that I wanna talk about. Let's go look at the Salt Lake 4. And what I want you to do is I want you to tell me if you were cleared Salt Lake 4, Grand Junction transition, right? Can you do it off a runway 16 right?
16 right, standard 260 foot per nautical mile to 6,000, and then a 400 foot per nautical. I absolutely know I can do the 260 foot per nautical mile. Let me convert to see if I can do the 400 foot per nautical mile to let's see. All right, so we'll call I have a 400 foot nautical mile at 90 degrees would be 600 foot per minute climb. You know, on a good day, I could do 600 foot per minute. I'm probably going to do like more of a VX type of climb then and not climb at 90 knots. I'd probably climb more at, you know, 80 or something, and that'd give me a more realistic climb. So that'd be around 500 feet per minute. So yeah, I can do that.
Okay, up to 8,300.
Yeah. Up to
Cessna 172, especially the N model, there ain't a whole lot of scoochums, ain't a whole lot of beans.
it's that's yeah 8,300 pushing it.
Is there any chart anywhere that you could look at to see what your expected climb rate would be at a specific airspeed?
Yeah, I can check the POA.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Check the POH, right? Because we can be like, yeah, I could, sure. No, like there's mountains. There's the ground. And here's the thing: a lot of airplanes have had arguments with the ground, and the airplane never wins. The airplane does not win. Okay. You might be able to punch into some cumulus clouds, but you cannot punch through cumulus granite. So just verify
Verify the PH. Okay.
So let's go look at. I want to look at Papa 08 is the airport I want to go to next. Let's say that we saw the runway. We had the intention of landing on runway 5, right? Because let's say wind 050 at 25. All right. So we're landing on 5. Okay. And you saw the runway at 23 DME from the Stanfield VOR. TFD is the Stanfield VOR. Would it be safe to continue to land? Why or why not?
So that's about 2.1 miles from my missed approach point. My VDP would be about 2.12 miles from the missed approach point, and that'd put me right where 23 DME from the Stanfield VOR is.
So what's your missed approach point?
Be 24. TFD.
Are we going to the VOR or from the VOR for this approach?
Going from the Stanfield VOR.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be about a mile. Yeah, no, you can't.
Okay.
You need to go missed. Be about a mile. Yeah, that'd be too steep for descent.
Yep. All right. Solid. Now, I mean, this approach like drops you at effectively, what's the field elevation? It drops you like 200 or 300 feet below pattern. So, I mean, I don't know. Could you enter the pattern? I don't know. Let you evaluate that when you get there. Next one we're going to go to is Scottsdale. That's Kilo Sierra Delta Lima. And we're going to look at the VOR DME Alpha. And why is this one not assigned a runway?
DME Alpha because, let's see, it's not a straight in approach. It's more than 30 degrees, so it's not going to get a runway name.
Okay, awesome. So it's more than 30 degrees off of a runway. Now, since it's circling, how close do I need to stay to actually circle?
1.3 nautical miles.
Okay, how do you know that? Like, what predicates that?
Well, off the approach end of the way the 1.3 works is off each approach into the runway. It gives you like an arc, and it kind of makes like this circle type thing.
Yeah. Right. Okay. But let's say I was flying an airplane with an approach speed of 123 knots.
Okay. So then it's gonna widen. And your circling minimums would be higher here, 23 knots. That's gonna put you in a that's class C.
Okay. So how
Category
wide
C.
is that gonna put me?
It's like I do not know that number off the top of my head, but I think it's
Do you
like
know
two
where to
point.
find it?
I believe that's in the FAR aim. Everything's in the FAR aim.
That's usually a solid answer, right? Like
That's in
it's
the
in the far aim. Yes, along with everything else. Um, so it's going to be 1.7. It's going to be an AIM 5-4-20. Right. And I know it feels unfair. Like I've got notes over here off to the side. It was nice that you recognized the approach categories. You knew what the approach categories were.
That's okay. Then that'd be 1.7
Yep,
miles.
be 1.7. So far I'm fairly impressed with where you're at. I mean, the only things that like I would say that we're a little like shaky was just making sure that your airplane is actually IFR capable with the equipment that's in it. I mean, I trust
Mhm.
that the mechanic probably installed it in accordance with the STC, but I've also seen plenty of mechanics install stuff not in accordance with the STC. Like
Mhm.
I saw somebody that they had a Cessna 182 where they just had dual G5s. That's it.
You serious?
Like, they had dual
Mm.
G5s linked to like a Garmin like 750 or something. So like a really nice GPS, but nothing else other than the engine instruments on the panel. And I'm like, as awesome as that looks, that's illegal.
Yeah.
And they were like, but the mechanic signed it off. I was like, your mechanic's a moron.
Yeah,
They were like,
really.
but the FAA signed off the 337. I was like, okay, but like, unless the FAA approved the deviancy from the STC,
Mhm.
you might want to call the FISDO and get somebody else involved because like Garmin specifically states you need to keep a couple other pieces of equipment in this airplane,
Yeah.
right?
That's
The panel looked great, like
yeah, but it's clean, yeah.
yeah. Um, but I mean, if you want to do stuff like that, go buy an experimental airplane. Then it's your experiment.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Let's talk about some weather. Let's talk about actually let's get into some aeromedical stuff. Talk to me about the leans. How do the leans happen and what is so dangerous about the leans?
Yeah, so the lanes is, when you're in a continuous turn and maybe you turn out of it, like a long turn, you turn out of it, um, and you get kinda spatially disoriented and you think you're actually turning in the opposite direction, um, but you're straight and level, so you correct it to and you're going the wrong way. Um, and that can kinda lead to some spiraling, oh god,
Well, where's it going to put you?
the ground.
And you're going to get buried where if there's anything left to bury.
Ah, oh god,
Not a cemetery,
dead, oh
but a
god, dude.
graveyard. A
Graveyard,
graveyard.
yes, graveyard spiral, thank you.
There we go. Feel like we're
Right.
playing like one of those games where you like stick the card on your forehead and you're trying to come up with synonyms. So they could lead to a graveyard spiral. All right. Now, what's actually happening inside your noggin that's leading to this?
Yeah, so your vestibular system, it's got these fluids and,
Now, I want to point out something real quick. We've been at this for about an hour and 13 minutes, kind of, question after question, pulling knowledge out
yeah,
of your noggin. When you get to this point on your check ride, say something, right? Hey, you mind if we take like 15 minutes, right?
yeah,
Get some water, get a cookie or something. Okay. But for time, right? Yes, vestibular system. There's fluid in there. The little hairs inside that
yeah,
vestibular system get deflected as the that fluid accelerates in one direction or another. But that's
mhm,
the thing. All they sense is acceleration, right? So once I am no longer accelerating, like in that constant standard rate turn, there's no acceleration being felt by my vestibular system. So when I go to level the airplane out, my vestibular system has now noticed the acceleration back to level, which is telling me that I am now banking that way, so now I kind of do this little nonsense trying to correct it.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
Now obviously, how do we cope for this? How do we cope for the airplane for our body going, "Hey man, you're cranked over at like 30 degrees of bank. What am I what instruments could I use to try and verify that I'm not actually banked over?"
Attitude, turn coordinator, Yeah,
Yep.
that much
Attitude
does.
indicator,
Yep.
solid choice. Attitude indicator is always a solid choice. Turn and bank indicator is always another good
Yeah.
option. Now, what's the difference between turn coordinator and a turn and bank indicator?
So a turn coordinator is is gonna show you, which direction you're actually turning, but then the bank is gonna show you, I believe, slip and skid.
What's the difference between these two instruments?
Well, one's
Yeah,
we'll
they're
go
both
gyroscopic.
gyros.
I don't know the difference on the inside.
So this one, the gyro is actually going to be mounted. So we're looking at it from the side now. The gyro is actually mounted at kind of a 45 because what gyroscopic principle are these instruments using?
Recession in Reducing space.
Yeah, so using
Precession, excuse
precession. So since this one's canted at that 45-degree angle, it will deflect with yaw and roll. So if
Okay.
you were to just add a little bit of bank, it'll give you a little deflection showing you like, hey, like you've deflected the airplane, right?
Mhm.
But this one over here, the gyro is mounted flat. So the only thing it can precess for is yaw, meaning
Just
that
yaw.
it only deflects after the turn is established.
Okay.
Right. Because we can even see down here, this looks kind of like an attitude indicator, a little bit. Looks a little
Mhm.
like attitude-esque. Okay. But we can see right here, it gives us no pitch information. It doesn't say no bank information. To be honest, these should say no bank down here. But these were also invented before these.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you get into an airplane that's got one of these, some people call them like the stick and doghouse, right? We got a stick and a doghouse. That's
I
what
see
some
it.
people refer to them
I
as.
see.
Um, stick and schoolhouse, ruler and schoolhouse, but they are turn and slip indicators, and these are turn indicators.
Okay.
All right. The reason I dug into that was the doghouse one will not indicate you a level of bank. So it can't be used in the event that you're trying to cross reference your instruments to verify that you're not sideways.
Okay. That makes sense.
See that until you get established in the turn. Once you're established in the turn, then it'll deflect and then everything will agree, right? Your heading indicator, your attitude indicator, and your turn and slip indicator.
Okay.
Now, given that you're going to be flying in IFR conditions, it's a wee bit chilly in the clouds sometimes,
Mhm.
meaning you might be a little bit more inclined to use the heater. Is there any risks associated with using the heater?
Yeah, carbon monoxide.
Okay, how could you identify that?
Well, I mean, first of all, my fancy watch will indicate my blood oxygen if that ever goes down. Um, we also have an indicator in our plane, but as far as if I'm gonna recognize my symptoms, I might not be thinking. I forget the type of hypoxia it is. But there is one where the CO2 is taking it's messing with your red blood cells and preventing oxygen from going to your brain. But yeah, I think you feel like kind of almost euphoric. You feel happy at first. You feel like kind of tingly a little bit. Those are some of the signs. But
I'm happy with that. Let's get a little bit into some weather.
okay.
Let's go ahead and head over to, I'm going to go to aviationweather.gov and we're going to look at some stuff. So here I am on aviationweather.gov. Uh,
Mhm.
um, what kind of weather could I expect along this blue line right here? I know I just turned it off.
So that's a cold front. We might expect some turbulence, or it's a cold front is kind of like faster moving conditions. So yeah, I think turbulence, strong winds, some thunder. Maybe there might be some storms with some convective activity.
Okay. So what's happening? Kind of describe to me the course of events that causes a cold front to develop into a thunderstorm possibly.
Yeah, so the cold front kind of comes in and is going to almost dig the warm air up, and so it's going to push the warm up air up, and it's going to condense and kind of turn into more of like lines of thunderstorm that you see.
Um Now, let's say I was going from like Arizona up to Wisconsin. Where would I get the better headwind? Would it be farther to the north or farther to the south? Where would I get the better tailwinds? Such thing as a better
So
headwind.
with the areas of high pressure, can they go clockwise? So like kind of more south is you're gonna get a better tailwind.
Right?
Yeah.
So if it's rotating this way, Am I gonna get more headwind on the south, or am I gonna get more headwind on the north?
On the north, right? Because
I
you're
said headwind, just to make sure.
headwind. Sorry, south, south. I was thinking tailwind.
Okay, okay. Um, we're gonna get better ground speeds up here. All right, so we know how to read a prog chart. What is so dangerous about an embedded thunderstorm now that you're gonna be flying around in IFR conditions?
You can't see it. Kind of catch you by surprise.
Yeah, can't see it. Awesome. Um, we should probably look into that. Was just navigating the STC, making sure that the airplane is actually IFR.
Mm.
Um, and again, that's can kind of be seen as maybe a little too in depth. But I just always kind of think back to when I bought my airplane. I really wish my instructor would have taught me how to navigate finding STCs and finding airworthiness directives, finding type certificate data sheets and all that jazz. Because the last thing you want to do is be spending $150,000 on an airplane and going, I don't even know if this thing's airworthy.
Yeah, yeah, it's really.
Right. Um, so that's kind of why I dig so much into it. Some people might say it's overkill. Whenever you go buy an airplane, you're probably gonna be like, you know what? That was a good idea, cheese pilot. Like,
Yep.
but I think you're fine. I think you're ready for your instrument check ride. I don't think you're gonna have any issues. Your route was fine, other than the fact you didn't plan to initial approach fix. It's always a
Mm.
recommendation: plan to an initial approach fix, plan to a star, so that you've got something to follow to get you out of the sky.
Okay. Yeah, I got
Right?
about 5 weeks until my check ride, so I've I feel more ready by then.
Yeah. All right. Now
Okay.
that doesn't mean go and relax and, go drink with your buddies or whatever. But like I think you're good to go. I think you're ready for your instrument check ride. And I wouldn't be concerned if you were my student. I'd sign you off.
Okay. Awesome. That's good to
Right.
hear.
Do you have any questions for me that, kind of concerns you?
No, I have the drs.fa.gov for check the STCs. I'll look at that. Other than that, no, I think I'm good.
All right, man. Well, you made your way into the Discord. So the Discord's there in the event that you come up with any other questions. So there's like 17 other flight instructors in there, not just me. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Flight instructors are going to be dark blue. Student pilots are going to be red. So if somebody's trying to give you advice and their name in the Discord is red, like take it with a grain of salt. Um,
Okay.
I'm not trying to say that student pilots don't know what they're talking about, but trust but verify. Um,
All right, I gotcha.
So,
Like,
but yeah, if you're having any questions during your training, I try to jump in there at least once a day. So just because like the mock check ride's over doesn't necessarily mean instruction ends, right?
okay, understood.
In that Discord, there is a check ride gouge channel. Okay, so free to use, free to you. It's a bunch of people that have gone and taken check rides, and then they come back and tell us about how their check ride went. There's people that have wrote like 4-page documents on like what happened on their check ride. Okay.
Okay.
So when you do take your check ride, you want to come back and tell us about it. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me keep these things as accurate as possible, and
Mhm.
it helps every other student that's in there.
Okay,
So
understood.
good luck, man.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your YouTube videos. They kind of got me through my private. It's awesome. It's a great resource. So I appreciate what you did.
Yeah, I appreciate you for watching, following
All
along.
right. All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
You too. All right. So that was the mock check ride. I think he did pretty well. There's the usual hiccups that most students struggle with. There's the things like, looking up STCs, looking up TCDSs, looking up to actually verify if their airplane is airworthy. And I think that this is kind of a failing on the instruction environment, right? I know when I went through my instruction, and I know even when I was an instructor full time, I didn't cover it because I trusted the school, right? I trusted the school. I trusted the maintenance facilities. I trusted them blindly, which I shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. You should be able to cross reference the appropriate documents to verify that your airplane is not only legal, but safe. Does it comply with the restrictions? Does it comply with the requirements of the manufacturers of the components that are installed in your airplane? So if you're going through flight training, whether it be instrument, private pilot, commercial, going through your freaking ATP right now, go check out the DRS, go check out the dynamic regulatory system and make sure, have you been breaking the law for the last 10 years? And as always, fly safe and keep it cheesy.